Before Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn learned a harsh Hollywood lesson while making his first superhero film, starring Rob Lowe. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Before James Gunn became the mastermind behind Guardians of the Galaxy and DC Studios, he had to face the cold, hard truth about Hollywood. Making superhero movies isn't all glitz and glam. His first crack at the genre, starring none other than Rob Lowe, was a wild ride that came with its own brutal wake-up call. Long before he was juggling A-list actors and billion-dollar budgets, Gunn learned that Hollywood doesn't always play fair. James Gunn learned the hard way that Hollywood doesn't always respect a writer's vision. When he wrote The Specials, his first superhero film starring Rob Lowe, he had control over the words but not much else. His ideas for casting and direction were barely considered. And that was just the beginning. In a 2001 interview with Fanboy Planet, Gunn admitted that even though he trusted director Craig Mazin, The Specials wasn't filmed the way he envisioned. He said, "I love Craig, and he stuck to my script almost exclusively on The Specials, but my vision of how The Specials should be filmed wasn't really taken into account. Scooby-Doo was a much bigger property, and I had to play around with the script a lot more, but the producers and the director were extremely respectful of my words and, to a fair degree, how I saw the movie. My words on casting were not always heeded, but they were always listened to." Things got even more complicated when he moved to big studio projects like Scooby-Doo. While the producers and director were respectful of his words, they weren't always followed. That's a harsh reality many writers face. Studios often prioritize directors, producers, or even actors over the person who wrote the story. Take It Ends With Us, where Ryan Reynolds reportedly rewrote scenes without the original writer's knowledge. It's an industry-wide pattern, one Gunn experienced firsthand. Of course, working under Troma's Lloyd Kaufman was a different story. Gunn joked during the same interview, "No one beats Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Pictures, though he let me do most anything, as long as lesbian sex was involved in some way. But, hell, there's a lot of give and take on all these projects." James Gunn eventually found his place as a director, ensuring his vision stayed intact. But The Specials was a wake-up call, one that proved even the best writers can get sidelined in the system. A new Superman TV spot, titled Icon, dropped on January 27th, featuring David Corenswet soaring through icy terrain. But instead of praising the epic shot, fans got distracted by his face. One user noted, assuming it was unfinished CGI, "There's something with his face that looks a little off. I know there's plenty of time to refine the CG. There is absolutely zero CG in his face. People's faces can look different when you put a wide-angle lens up close. The background plate in Svalbard, Norway, is 100% real, as is David." The internet, of course, had jokes. Some compared Corenswet's wide-eyed look to Marty Feldman's Igor in Young Frankenstein. Others photoshopped Steve Buscemi's crazy eyes onto Superman. Despite the memes, Superman is still on track for a July 11, 2025, release. Corenswet leads a cast featuring Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Joe Rogan, like other DC fans, is wary of David Corenswet's Superman reboot but has faith in James Gunn's capabilities as a director. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The DCU is safe in James Gunn's hands. That is the common consensus that fans have drawn ever since it was announced that he would be rebooting the franchise back to its former glory. However, the one thing that has come with this new wave is a lot of change and new faces. One of the biggest changes that have come with the latest phase of the DCU is the change of Superman's actor. Henry Cavill has some of the most dedicated fans in Hollywood, and they are still quite salty about DC Studios' betrayal of him. It would seem that controversial podcaster Joe Rogan falls into this category, and he was not happy when he heard about David Corenswet's reboot. Over the years, Marvel and DC have overseen many reboots of iconic characters. Be it in the pages of a book or film, fans have seen different faces play beloved characters for decades now. However, it has become a recent trend for fans to not be happy about this age-old tradition. New faces are coming and taking the responsibility from legends, causing many to be wary. In a recent episode of his podcast, Joe Rogan also spoke along similar lines. In a conversation with other guests on his program, he learned about the new Superman film, and his thoughts may ring true with other fans. Just like they do with Spider-Man. They have like 80 Spider-Mans. A dog saves him? Wait a minute, is that AF*King Superdog? That dog had a cape. Does the dog fly? Upon finding out that the film was a reboot, Rogan was not impressed. Pointing out the number of Spider-Man films there have been, he seemed to prefer when Henry Cavill was Superman, like many other fans. He then watched the trailer and was quite emotional about what he saw. From the conversation, Krypto's addition to the upcoming film was something he could not wrap his head around. Seemingly unaware of his character, he was upset that a dog was saving Superman. While Joe Rogan was quite critical about the idea of David Corenswet's Superman film, there were others on the table who were very excited about the project. When the topic of James Gunn's capabilities was brought up, the tone very quickly changed. Although fans have been quite wary of all DC films in recent years, Gunn's involvement in future projects acts as a ray of hope. The director's work speaks for itself, with the Guardians of the Galaxy films being one of the best trilogies for Marvel and his work with DC being just as good. This has caused many to have faith in Corenswet's upcoming film, and Rogan seems to be one of them. Since Gunn made it impossible not to care about a talking raccoon, Rogan came to a similar conclusion with the DC film. Although he did not care about the Superdog in the trailer, he seems to have faith that the director can make Krypto the new Rocket Raccoon. While it is evident that Rogan is not an expert on the DCU, he seems to hold some strong opinions about the superhero genre as a whole. James Gunn praises Companion, Drew Hancock's black comedy horror sci-fi, calling it freaking incredible. Don't miss this hidden gem. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Horror movies have a strange fate in theaters. They often get overlooked by the mass population due to their appealing nature to a particular group of audience. Perhaps, not everyone likes jump scares. Well, whatever the case, the same unfortunate destiny seemingly struck the 2025 American black comedy horror sci-fi, Companion. Drew Hancock's movie, starring Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid, quietly slipped past many moviegoers. But while the world was busy missing out on the film, James Gunn appeared to be paying undivided attention. And guess what? The Guardians of the Galaxy director took to social media to call the film freaking incredible. Given his experience in filmmaking, when James Gunn speaks, movie buffs offer their full attention to the legend. Known for his bold storytelling and a keen eye for great cinema, guess which movie recently caught Gunn's attention? Well, it's Drew Hancock's black comedy horror sci-fi Companion, 2025, that escaped the attention of mainstream audiences. While most people might be unaware of the existence of such a film, James Gunn not only watched it, but took to threads to rave about Drew Hancock's vision. Dropping a short and crisp review that was more than enough to set off a buzz among moviegoers who might have overlooked this under-the-radar gem, Gunn hailed the film as freaking incredible. Considering James Gunn's track record of directing blockbuster movies, his praise for another incredible gem like Companion didn't seem like merely empty words. Instead, his brief review on social media felt like a genuine effort at helping Drew Hancock's movie get its